Welcome to Preservation Oaks, the podcast where we invite you to step away from the bustle of everyday life. Settle in and relax, and take a moment to leave the familiar behind as we explore the hidden gems of America that preserve our cultural past. We call them our Preservation Oaks, and with each episode, we'll journey to a different corner of the country, where we'll discover the unique histories, landscapes, and communities that make up our nation. We'll visit with local museums, historical and genealogical societies. They are the stewards of these stories. They preserve the legacy of each place like precious pieces of fabric in a quilt that binds the freedom-loving, hardworking people in this country together. So, slow down, grab a beverage, open your mind, and let us take you on a tour of the fascinating histories and heartfelt traditions that lie just beyond the horizon. This is Preservation Oaks, where every story is a stitch in the fabric of our shared culture. Now, join our host, Sean Radcliffe, as he uncovers another thread in the tapestry of America's heritage and what it takes to preserve it.
Welcome to the Preservation Oaks podcast. I'm your host, Sean Radcliffe, and today we're honored to feature a very special conversation with the leaders of the Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America. It's one of the most respected genealogy organizations dedicated to Germanic ancestral research. Joining us from the Denver, Colorado area are President Jennifer Bigham, Sandy Carter-Duff, Seminar Registrar and Membership Coordinator, Mariea, Board Member at Large for the National Organization of Palatines to America, and Jerry Schaefer, Treasurer of the Colorado Chapter. Early German immigration into North America began way back in the late 1600s and continued into Pennsylvania, New York, and Maryland through the 1800s. And as it turns out, over that long time period, Germanic peoples were the largest group of immigrants into the United States. This includes immigrants from Germany, Prussia, Austria, Switzerland, Alsace-Lorraine, Palatine regions of Germany, and other Germanic principality. German was the second most spoken language in the United States for generations. So for historians and genealogists especially, Palatine history isn't a specialty topic, it's a foundational one. For generations, German-speaking immigrants formed one of the largest streams into America, and their descendants are woven into nearly every region of our country. Organizations like Palatines to America aren't niche at all. They're central because you can't understand American history without understanding the German-speaking people who helped shape it. For nearly half a century, Palatines to America has been promoting the study of German-speaking immigration to North America. They were founded in Columbus in 1975. The organization began with a small group of passionate researchers and has grown to thousands of members nationwide dedicated to discovering family history. The Colorado chapter itself was established in 1982 in response to local need for German genealogy support and reflects Colorado's rich German heritage, which is so deep in Colorado that early editions of the state constitution were originally printed in both English and German. Today, roughly 1 in 5 Coloradans trace their ancestry back to Germany. If you have questions or comments about today's show, email us at preservationoaks@gmail.com. And of course, thanks for listening. Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and leave a comment wherever you listen to our program. In my background, I grew up in Peoria and Tazewell counties in Illinois. I didn't grow up thinking of myself as immersed in German culture. But looking back, it was everywhere. In the food, in the churches, in the values, and I'm still living that tradition today. The area had a significant German immigrant population, and that presence left lasting cultural, religious, and genealogical fingerprints. It wasn't just touched by German immigration, it was shaped by it. Like much of central Illinois, its farms, churches, and family lines reflect the largest immigrant group to settle the American Midwest. In those days, until today, the focus was on hard work, our nation, church life, family, and food. And I'll tell you, that food is magnificent. Now, let me tell you about the next episode of Preservation Oaks. We'll be hanging out with the Palisade Historical Society in Palisade, Colorado, and more specifically with Ms. Joanne Rasmussen, the board chair. These guys are all about focusing on collecting, preserving, and communicating the unique history of Palisade, Colorado. They have broad community support, and they do a great job. It'll just be a pleasure to highlight their work in the community. All right, this is episode 117 of the Preservation Oaks podcast with our guests from the Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America. Let's dig into the history and see where it takes us. Welcome to the program, Jennifer, Sandy, Kay, and Jerry. By the way, guys, congratulations on the 50th anniversary of your national organization.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, what inspired each of you to get involved with the Colorado Chapter of Palatines of America? Let's start with Jennifer Bigham.
Well, I was asked. That's what inspired me, which stems back to me trying to research my grandmother's German heritage. She was born and raised in Germany, and it was through attending the Colorado Chapter Palatine conferences that they have, the seminars that they hold twice a year, that I was able to learn how to research in Germany and extend her family history back. And so when they reached out and asked me, it's just what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to help and give back to them since they had taught me what I needed to know to research my grandmother's family history.
Very good. Thank you very much for that. Sandy, what's your story?
Well, my husband and I found out about Palatines to America in about the late 1900s, and my husband had a lot of German ancestors, and I just had a few, but our ancestors all came over in the 1700s. So we were kind of mystified about how we learn more about them and how to find out where they came from. So we joined Pal-Am right away to learn that.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Kay, how about your story?
I had some German documents that I couldn't read. And then there was a national conference here in Denver in 2001. And I decided that I learned they had people who could read the old stuff. And I went, got the documents translated and joined. And then they said they needed a newsletter editor. And that's what I did. So I took the newsletter position for the next 20 years.
Fantastic. Did the translation help you?
Oh, yes.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Nice story. Thank you. And Jerry, what about you?
Well, to be honest, Sean, Yvonne, my wife, is the real genealogist in the family. Shortly after we were married, she started researching my mother's extensive German family as a way of getting to know my mother's parents and their 10 children and their spouses and my 62 first cousins. We had a lot of family stories, but not much evidence of them being factual. So Yvonne dug into all that, and from there I helped her with other research by listening to her explain research findings, and I would sketch family charts from her comments. She was on the Pal-Am board, so I attended one meeting with her, and she volunteered me to be treasurer. Then there was no looking back.
Well, I'm glad you're there, and I'm glad you're all a part of the organization. It's a wonderful organization. I hope everybody looks into it. Folks, can you tell us about the mission of Palatines to America?
Hi, Sean. This is Jennifer, and this is on the National Palatine website. Our mission is to promote interest in the research and study of all German-speaking people who migrated to the Americas, to exchange and preserve information relating to the history and culture of German-speaking families, to provide appropriate methods, tools, and resources to assist members in achieving their researching goals, to encourage fellowship and sharing of information among members.
Fantastic. Thank you. How has the organization evolved since its founding in Ohio in 1975?
This is Sandy. It began in Ohio with an individual posting an ad in the Genealogical Helper exploring interest in German researchers gathering together. A small group met to share resources and help each other with translations. By the next decade, national conferences were held, but it was really very slow going. Soon, chapters in other states and Ohio were formed under the umbrella of Palatines to America, with eventually 12 chapters from the East Coast to the West Coast. Now membership has begun a decline as online resources are replacing the traditional national and state conferences as learning opportunities.
Okay. Yeah, I hope that increases again as people get jazzed about your annual conference and all of the things you have to offer in terms of lectures and help. So, how does the Colorado chapter support beginners?
Hi, it's Jennifer. Well, the first thing that we have is we have a beginning German genealogy section on our website, which covers how to start your research, which genealogy platforms are useful, how to verify your sources, why you should research in the United States before jumping into German records, and which key records you can use to explore. When I first began my own family history research, I kind of ignored my grandmother's family because German was very intimidating to me because it was in German. I didn't read or speak German. I didn't know which records to look for, especially the old German script, which is totally different than the modern German.
Yeah.
And so when I discovered, like I said, in 2016, I started attending the seminars that we hold twice a year, where I was able to learn what records I needed to research. They did less classes on reading the old German script, and that's helped me as a beginner German researcher to be able to find where I needed to research. And I have successfully done that. So
Fantastic. So you guys have something on your website that will help beginners?
Yep, it's called Beginning Research, and it has all these tips on there.
Wow. Yeah, I've looked at them. They're great. Very centered on German research. It's great. Now, Jerry was talking about family lore and the myths in his family. What's one myth about tracing German ancestry you guys hear a lot?
Sean, this is Jerry. So often we hear new researchers say that something they found couldn't possibly be a relative because the spelling of the surname was different than how they spelled theirs. Nothing could be farther from the truth. We have found numerous ways that my ancestors spelled Schaefer. In fact, in some German archives, we found where in the early 1800s, my couple of great-grandfather was a school teacher. He inspired his 3 sons to also be school teachers, but they had to move to other villages to get employment. And each son changed the spelling of Schaefer to distinguish themselves from each other.
Oh, my goodness.
The new spellings carried down through the generations after that, so you'd never really know about the spelling of surnames.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, thank you for that. How has technology changed the way we trace ancestors?
Well, this is Kay. I can think of a couple of things. One is that just like in the US, there's more information available on computers nowadays. Both German Catholic and Protestant church records, which are basically the major source of German genealogy information, they're now online. But also, it's good to know that a person can now write to the German archives in English rather than having to get it translated into German. And I think those two things are helping us now.
Oh, yeah, I didn't realize that. That's a great service that they offer. Thank you for that. Now, how does the chapter collaborate with the National Palatines to America organization? Can you help us understand that relationship?
Yeah, Sean, this is Jerry again. Palatines to America is our national and parent organization. Colorado is one of 6 chapters, which include Indiana, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. National Palam helps set the direction, creates leverage across chapters, and even provides some publicity for the programs of each chapter. We leverage video conferencing solutions, liability insurance, and membership management. For example, becoming a member of a chapter or donating to a chapter is accomplished via the national website.
Okay.
It really saves each chapter from duplicating some of the efforts. And in addition, National is a 501c3 and tax-exempt nonprofit, and the chapters are also part of that. And every 2 years, there's a National Palam conference which brings in speakers and activities across the course of 3 days that no one chapter could do on their own. And different chapters host the conference. This year it's in Pennsylvania. In 2022, we did it in Denver.
Cool.
So while we operate independently, in many ways, we also leverage many items.
All right. People need to realize that if they want to join or donate to the Colorado chapter specifically, they have to go to the national home, Palatines to America, the national website, in order to do that.
That's right, Sean. And there's a spot where they can click on Colorado.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Jerry. What role does the Denver Public Library play in your research community?
Jamie Middendorf, who's the head of the Denver Public Library Genealogical section, she's actually a member of COPALAM. And she and her staff always are very helpful to work with any of us with things we need. And we also tried to coordinate with her about things that they might need to help increase their German book selection.
Oh, very cool. How big is the collection over there? Is it like comparable to other libraries across the nation?
Actually, Sean, the Denver Public Library is considered one of the 3 to 5 top German genealogy libraries in the nation. The collection they have is quite extensive, and so it's really a great place to do research.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Appreciate the information. What ongoing projects is the Colorado chapter currently working on?
This is Jennifer again. Currently, we have our spring seminar, which is April 18th, which will both be in person in Denver and it will be on Zoom. So even if you don't live in the Denver area, you can join us. We have our featured speaker, Fritz Jungling, and he will have 4 presentations that he will be giving that day. It's an all-day seminar, and he will be presenting on historical events and how they affect your genealogy research, the Austria-Hungarian Empire geography, and then a presentation on a history of Low German. And the last presentation will be extracting information from German church and civil records, which is considered a German handwriting help tip presentation. We have also started hosting monthly on Zoom focus groups, which is specific to like different German tips and research suggestions for researching in Germany. Last month, we learned about the 2 main church websites from Germany, which are Archeon and Matricula. And then the March focus group is going to be on the website Transcribus, which is an AI handwritten and printed text translation site.
Oh, cool.
And so those are the 2 things that we have going right now.
So if I attend that focus group, I can learn how to use AI to translate the old German script in some manuscripts and books?
So, well, it transcribes it.
Oh,
It takes it from the handwritten to a printed text, and then you have to take it and put it in a translation site to translate it.
Yeah.
It's the best new tool that I have found for German genealogy.
Yeah, that's very cool. Very cool for so many people to help. The spring seminar with Fritz, do you record those and put them on YouTube or put them on your website or any of that?
So we record them, but they are only available for 30 days for individuals who have registered to attend this seminar.
Oh, that makes
So
sense.
they're not open for the public, but if you attend our seminar or pay for it, you will get a recording for 30 days.
Oh, that's very cool. Nice benefit. Thank you.
Yes.
What led to the establishment of your organization in 1982, and what formative experiences were pivotal in its early development?
This is Sandy again. Just like the national organization, our formation began when a few German researchers gathered. Growth was difficult from 82 to 1988 until our chapter hosted the PALAM National Convention here in Denver. That was the first one of several we've hosted. This drew attention to us and our growth began. We held semi-annual meetings, starting with local knowledgeable speakers and question and answer sessions, often led by Tim Oswald. He was pivotal in our growth because he offered translation services and led the question and answer sessions. And this was followed by bringing in national expert speakers for semi-annual seminars a little later. Our membership grew to over 200 in the 1990s.
Oh, very cool. I really like the way you bring in German research experts and expertise to help people. That's really nice.
Yes, that's the best.
Now, I'd like to provide listeners with the contact information for the organization. Their website is www.copalam.us. You can contact them via email at contact@copalam.us. Their Facebook group is Colorado Palatines to America. Just do a search for that. Their national organization, where you join and where you donate, is www.palam.org. And their mailing address is P.O. Box 51186, Colorado Springs, Colorado 80949. Does that all sound right, guys?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Welcome. How does your organization choose its seminar themes and speakers?
This is Jennifer again. We choose our seminar themes and speakers based on some of the feedback we receive from our seminars. Every time we have a seminar, we give a feedback form, so that way we can get feedback on what our members and those attending in our seminars are interested in. And we have a list of potential speakers that we put together, and we find these at national conferences. Some of them have spoken at IGGP, which is the International German Genealogy Partnership. We will look at the Association of Professional Genealogists website to see which ones are German-speaking presenters. And also I use conferences like Roots Tech and the National Genealogy Conference to look for speakers that are relevant to what our members are looking for. We've also looked at people who have spoken in the past, and if it's been a while, we'll reuse those. Because we have a small database of German speakers that we can use that do genealogy and presentation. So that's what we kind of look for, is those that our members are looking for.
Do you ever get speakers from across the sea in Germany?
This is Sandy. We did have, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we did have one probably about 15 years or more ago. Roland Paul came here from Germany. He was doing something else in the States at the time, and we were able to tack him on as part of his trip here.
Oh, very cool. You guys are doing some great work, let me tell you. Now, speaking of the broader genealogical community, how is researching German genealogy unique?
This is Kay. Like a lot of research in foreign countries, you are working in a foreign language. And most of this stuff is handwritten and in Old German, which most people who speak German now, a lot of people who speak German nowadays can't read it. That's always been a thing. You kind of have to know if your people are Protestant or Catholic, because the records, even in the same place, are going to be totally different.
Oh.
I've also found out that, in places like Alsace-Lorraine, the history moves. Sometimes it was French, sometimes it was German. So you're going to run into records that are French, that are German, and I've also found Latin records. So,
wow. Thank God for
that's
AI.
what we run into.
The coming world with AI means I can look at anything in any language and it'll tell me it in my language. I think
that would be nice.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
The old church records also have all sorts of abbreviations, which often throw me, at least. I have no idea what that letter sitting there means. So,
have you done a seminar on that at all?
A lot of our speakers do talk about that and how to read it. And it can also depend on the particular priest or minister who wrote it down.
Oh, wow. Kind of complicated, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like anything, not once you learn it, right?
Well, you learn the tricks to follow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's certainly unique, and I'm glad you guys are there. What's some of the most exciting finds in Colorado German genealogical records that you've seen?
This is Kay, the Colorado German genealogy. I'm one of the few people who actually have German ancestors in Colorado. There's two groups that were here. The first are Germans that first went to Russia and then were thrown out of Russia, and they came here, and they live in northeastern Colorado. And there's all sorts of tricks to finding that, because you can find where they were in Russia, and then from that where they were in Germany, and there's tricks to doing that. And my ancestors happened to have been Austrian, and they came to the mountains and the mining towns. And so you're then ending up dealing with Austrian records, which again are a little bit different.
Wow.
So those are some of the things that you're dealing with, the Colorado German records.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any entertaining or notable anecdotes from your organization's history that you'd like to highlight?
Yes, this is Sandy. Besides the annual seminar offerings with national speakers, we started producing a quarterly newsletter, and early on it featured prominently Tim Oswald's Tips for German Research. He wrote 55 in all, and I think most are still relevant even today. Our semi-annual seminars also used to feature German dinners, which sometimes attracted members who were not available to come to the daytime seminars. We were able to do this at a time when we were having our seminars at a local motel, where the head of dining really enjoyed very much working with us on those German dinners.
Oh, fantastic. Now, I know this is going to be controversial, but I'll ask it. What's the best German restaurant in the area?
Oh,
There was one in Lakewood that I went to a couple years ago that was pretty good. Was it Gabby's? It might have been Gabby's in Lakewood.
Well, and then there's Helga's, which is in Aurora,
Mm-hmm.
and that's good.
And I can tell you, Sean, in Colorado Springs, there are two. One is Edelweiss, and the other is Uwe's. And Edelweiss has the atmosphere, but Uwe's has the best food.
Oh, really? Oh, I looked at Edelweiss last night, and I was like, wow, this place looks cool. Yeah, all right.
No, their food's not bad. Their food is good, but sometimes some of our Germans in Colorado Springs, they all have, from different locations, they have their own opinions.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's why I knew that question would be controversial.
yes. Plus, if you live in the Denver area, you don't very frequently drive 70 miles south to Colorado Springs for dinner.
Yeah, true. Now, folks, it's time for a break for a few minutes.
All right. We'll see you back after the break.
All right, fantastic. Listeners, we'll be right back after these important messages about joining and becoming a member of the Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America.
Are you curious about where your family came from? Do names like Schmidt, Muller, or Weber appear on your tree? The Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America is here to help. This nonprofit, volunteer-run organization has been guiding genealogists since 1982, providing invaluable seminars, research tools, and a welcoming community of fellow history lovers. With access to workshops, newsletters, expert guidance, and a network of German ancestry researchers, you're never alone on your journey to the past.
Membership isn't just access, it's connection. Join Colorado Palatines to America today at www.palam.org and explore your heritage with a group passionate about Germanic roots.
This is Masks and Meaning, the History of Mardi Gras. In this segment, we're exploring a celebration that fills streets all across the world with music, color, and centuries of tradition, Mardi Gras. But what exactly is Mardi Gras? The term Mardi Gras is French. It means Fat Tuesday, and that name tells us almost everything we need to know. The Mardi Gras celebration marks the final day before the Christian season of Lent begins. Lent is a 40-day period of reflection, fasting, and preparation leading up to Easter. In many Christian traditions, Lent begins on Ash Wednesday. So, Mardi Gras is the day before Ash Wednesday. Historically, the last opportunity to get fat, enjoying rich foods, festivities, and public celebration before entering a more solemn season. Its roots stretch back to medieval Europe. In countries such as France, Spain, and Italy, communities marked the eve of Lent with feasting, parades, masks, and music. When French settlers arrived in North America in the late 17th and early 18th centuries, they carried these traditions with them. In fact, the first recorded Mardi Gras observance in what is now the United States took place in 1699, when French explorers Pierre Le Moyne d'Iberville and Jean-Baptiste Le Moyne de Bienville landed near present-day Louisiana and named their landing site Pointe du Mardi Gras. Mobile, Alabama, traces the oldest organized Mardi Gras celebration in the United States to 1703, decades before New Orleans became synonymous with it. Mobile's mystic societies, elaborate parades, and traditions such as Joe Cane Day, honoring the civic leader who helped revive Carnival after the Civil War, remained central to its identity. Over time, the tradition flourished in Louisiana, especially in New Orleans, where it evolved into the vibrant celebration recognized around the world today. New Orleans parades are organized by social clubs known as crews. These crews design elaborate floats, host masked balls, and toss beads, coins, and small trinkets called throws to crowds lining the streets. Many crews have histories stretching back more than a century. The official Mardi Gras colors, purple, green, and gold, were established in 1872. Purple represents justice. Green symbolizes faith. Gold stands for power. But Mardi Gras was never simply an American invention. Across Europe, in France, Italy, Spain, Germany, Belgium, and Portugal, carnival traditions mark the same pre-Lenten season. In Germany, it is often called Carnival or Fasching. In Italy, Carnevale derives from Latin roots, meaning farewell to meet. It is celebrated throughout the Caribbean, including Trinidad and Tobago and Haiti, and in Brazil, where Carnival has evolved into a uniquely Brazilian expression, shaped by Portuguese, African, and indigenous influences, yet still rooted in the same Christian calendar. And here, in the United States, while New Orleans may be the most famous host, Mardi Gras traditions extend across the Gulf South, in Mobile, Biloxi, Pensacola, and Galveston, and have been adopted in cities such as St. Louis and San Diego. Beyond the parades and parties, Mardi Gras carries deeper cultural meaning. It reflects centuries of blending, French, Spanish, African, Caribbean, and American influences meeting along the Gulf Coast. In Louisiana especially, it is intertwined with Cajun and Creole culture, music, cuisine, and community identity. And, like many traditions we explore here on Preservation Oaks, Mardi Gras reminds us that history is not confined to archives and museums. It lives in festivals, in recipes, in music, in shared public memory. So, the next time you see beads draped across a balcony or hear the distant sound of a brass band, you'll know Mardi Gras is not just a party. It is a centuries-old turning of the calendar, carried across oceans, adapted in new lands, and passed down through generations. From medieval Europe to colonial Louisiana to the streets of New Orleans and beyond. This is Preservation Oaks, because even celebration has a history. History is layered, carried in faith, in family, and in the music drifting down a southern street. Like the turning of a calendar, even our celebrations carry the imprint of centuries past.
And now, back to Preservation Oaks.
Welcome back to Preservation Oaks. We're here today with Jennifer Bigham, Sandy Carter-Duff, Kay Mariea, and Jerry Schaefer of the Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America, located in the great state of Colorado. Let's pick up where we left off. Welcome back, everybody.
Thanks for having us back on Preservation Oaks. We're excited to keep exploring the Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America with you and your listeners.
So, folks, what are some noteworthy visitor experiences or testimonials that you think highlight the impact of your organization?
So this is Jennifer again. I'm going to share two emails that I received from our members, one after our focus group in February. And one of the attendees, this is what she said, quote, "Your presentation was very helpful. I'd looked at the website, but I was intimidated by it. Now I have a better idea of how to use it and hopefully find records for my German ancestors," end quote. So that was on the Archeon and Matricula presentation. And then after our seminar in the fall with Alex Tolksdorf, a member said this: "I thoroughly enjoyed the presentation and the opportunity to meet you and other COPALAM members. Everyone was so friendly and open to help in my genealogical journey." And that really is what our goal is. Our goal is to help others in their German genealogy journey.
Yeah, to make it less intimidating for beginners and people trying to figure out the complexities that you guys have mentioned. And I'm sure you're doing a great job at that. Thank you for sharing that. Could you describe your organization's funding model and share any financial targets you hope to reach by year's end?
Hi, Sean. This is Jerry. Like I said earlier, our 6 chapters do get some leverage from the national organization to help keep our operating expenses as low as possible. For other basic operating expenses like postal and expenses and websites, our membership dues do a good job of covering those.
Oh, good.
We attempt to make our seminars self-funding so that the expense of the speaker travel, conference rooms, audio, visual, and such are mostly covered by the fee we charge to attendees. That's part of why, as you had asked before about recordings, yes, we make the recordings available to attendees because we have to charge a fee. We don't make it available to the general public.
Right.
And plus, our speakers wouldn't be happy about that. Our donations of research materials to the Denver Public Library is typically funded from proceeds from the book sales we do at each conference. Attendees can find many good sources to help them in their genealogy research at our book sales that we have. And of course, donations are an important source as well. We occasionally don't get enough funds from the seminars or the book sales to cover the expenses, and donations help us cover those shortfalls and enable us to keep spreading the benefits and tools of genealogy research.
Oh, very cool. Thank you, Jerry, for that. So guys, donate, become a member. It's important. So you talked about membership. What are some of the benefits of membership and how much is membership?
This is Sandy, since I'm the membership chair, and some of what I get into is going to be repeated from what has already been said. So forgive me, but I think repetition is a good thing. Membership is how we sustain our chapter. Without membership and the financial support it brings, we wouldn't be able to engage members to become chapter leaders, and the chapter couldn't survive. Membership also funds our semi-annual seminars, as Jerry just said, enables us to produce a newsletter with information about seminars and German research. And although recruitment begins at the local level through the state chapters, Jerry has already referred to this, it's managed by the national organization Palatines to America, and payment is made to national either through their website online or through mailing in a check to the National Post Office, which is available online. The national membership chair then communicates lists to the local state chapter membership chair, that's me, and a share of the national dues is paid to the local state chapter treasurer, and that's Jerry. Our membership year is October 1 to September 30th, and that is kind of an odd time frame because most people think of January to December, but I'm not sure historically why that is, other than that it's the federal tax year. There are 2 membership levels, individual at $40 and family at $45. And these apply to a single chapter. Individuals may join additional chapters at $8 each. National also offers life memberships for individuals and family members at the same price of $875. The life membership is made to a single chapter, and life members may join additional chapters at $8 each. The National PALAM organization, as Jerry has mentioned before, has 6 state chapters: Colorado, Indiana, North Carolina, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Perks for joining PALAM include a reduced fee to attend the National Annual Conference, a national quarterly publication of research, and a national newsletter. In addition, there's access to special resources in a members-only section at the national website. Locally, our perks include a chapter newsletter and access again to a members-only section. We don't have variable local seminar charges for members versus non-members because now we're meeting in government-operated buildings, and usually they don't want us to have variable fees based on membership because they're open to the public and everybody needs to pay the same thing.
Oh, got it. Now, your newsletter, you have both a national and you have a local chapter newsletter. How often is the local chapter newsletter published?
It's about 3 times a year. Usually it's about a month before our seminar.
Okay, that's very cool. Yeah, I bet there's a lot of good information in there.
Yes.
Hey, folks, what annual gatherings or celebrations does your organization hold, and what significance do they have for your members? I know you mentioned the national one.
This is Jennifer. Like we said, we've talked about the 2 seminars that we hold each year in the fall and the spring. In the spring, one thing that we do different is we hold a membership meeting for the elections of the offices that we have. And then we give our members the opportunity to vote on those. And then every other year, one of the chapters holds the national conference, and we've talked about how we held it in 2022.
Where can they sign up for the 2026 PALAM National Conference?
On the national website. It is June 18th through the 20th in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
All right, so get signed up now, folks, because I'm sure places are going fast.
And there's an early bird price, I think, until the middle of April. I don't know the exact date, but it's an early bird price registration until somewhere mid-April. It'll be on the website.
Yeah, and it's very cool. It's in Doubletree Resort Hotel in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And if you haven't never been to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, I encourage you to go because it's a wonderful place. Folks, how does your organization reach out to the local community and engage people in learning about their history?
It's Jennifer again. We reach out a couple different ways. We post on our Facebook, and then we actually reach out to local and other state genealogical societies and our personal local family history centers to share our seminar information with it. And since our seminars are not only held in the Denver area, but they are also on Zoom, it helps us reach a broader audience. And one thing that I feel like that we do is we try to make German genealogy approachable from everyone, from the beginner to the intermediate German genealogist or even more advanced ones. Our newsletters and research guides and beginner tools available on our website support those researching their German ancestors. You know, we have our seminars and our focus groups, which is helping us create a sense of community. Because many in the Colorado, like Kay mentioned earlier, in our state have German ancestry. Mm-hmm. So our chapter provides a welcoming place to connect with the past and understand the stories that shaped their family.
Fantastic. And at your gatherings, do you serve pretzels and mustard?
We don't, sir. We should.
Hey, that's a great idea.
That would be great.
It would be good. But we have to have the ones from Germany because they're so much better than the ones from here.
Are they really? Fantastic. Regarding your newsletter, we talked about it a little bit. What kinds of topics and achievements do you typically share with the community?
This is Kay. Basically, the newsletter is published twice a year. We always give information about what's going to be in the upcoming seminar or any other activities that we've got planned. We let people know about the conference, and sometimes we even list seminars that are being held by other chapters that they could access through Zoom. We publicize the fact that we do things with the Denver Public Library. So if we've put a new book or books into the Denver Public Library, that's publicized so that people know.
Very cool. Thank you for that. I don't know how long you've been publishing your newsletter. Is it available on your website?
Yes.
Yes.
This is Sandy. Yes.
Okay, cool. So members probably can go back and look at previous editions.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
fantastic. And copies of the national newsletters are available on the national website.
Oh, very cool. Thank you. I know I also found some on the family search catalog for Colorado chapter.
That's neat. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they were all there, but there's a few. Now, how does your organization connect and collaborate with similar institutions at the local, state, national, or international levels to further your shared goals?
Sean, this is Jerry. Like I said, in addition to the National Palatines to America and other chapters, one of our biggest collaborations is with the Colorado Council of Genealogical Societies, CCGS for short. There are dozens of genealogical societies around the state, and each one having either a geographic or specific national focus. Groups like Adams County, Boulder County, Larimer, Mesa County, Pikes Peak, and others, they all have genealogy groups that are focused on their geography. And then nationality groups like German, WISE, which is Welsh, Irish, Scottish, English, Jewish, Swedish, Spanish, and even the Black Genealogy Search Group. So the CCGS organization works to bring all these together and support the needs and interests of the Colorado genealogical community. At the national level, there's an organization called NGS, the National Genealogical Society, that was established in 1903, and they foster collaboration, education, and best practices. And then the International German Genealogy Partnership, that was something that Jennifer mentioned, IGGP, is dedicated to facilitating German genealogy globally. And it helps link together International Federation of German Genealogy Organizations who share resources. So Palatines to America and the Colorado Chapter of Palatines connects to and partners with all of these. And many of our members are also members of other organizations like the DAR, Daughters of the American Revolution. And this brings in additional focus areas. So we really try to collaborate and leverage with other organizations a lot, Sean.
Oh, fantastic. I bet the CCGS meetings are great.
They are. And that's another one that it really is terrific, the way that they bring all of us together, no matter what the nationality or the geography in Colorado, bringing that together in that partnership. One of the things that they have done is a whole DNA research education. Oh. So, starting to look at DNA and how DNA is able to help you with your genealogy research. That's something that CCGS has been a real leader in for Colorado.
Oh, that's very cool.
This is Sandy. I want to add that they also bring some leadership together of specialized, knowledgeable persons to talk about issues that boards of the local genealogical societies are dealing with, like writing bylaws, what are good bylaws versus procedure manuals. And they talk about, we share information that way to develop our board skills. Another thing they do is that we try to collaborate around dates we're having our seminars or conferences so that we are not conflicting with dates and trying to reach an audience that's going to have to choose, do I go here or do I go there?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Very good.
Now, for people that want to know more about German ancestors, especially German ancestors in Colorado, are there any essential readings or resources you'd recommend for those interested in exploring German research?
Hey, Sean, it's Jennifer again. There are several books that I would recommend for those beginning German genealogy specifically. One is the German English Genealogy Dictionary by Ernest Thode. This book has been invaluable to my research because what he has is a book that has it in German, the old German script, and English. And so when you're trying to find out what that word is in the document, this book is always on my desk and I open it and go find it. There's several books that are available to help specifically with reading the handwriting. Catherine Schober has a book called Tips and Tricks for Deciphering German Handwriting, which is great. Robert Miner also has one called Deciphering Handwriting in German Documents. One thing in German genealogy that's very important is knowing the village or town of origin. You can't know that they're from Germany and do research there. And one thing that our chapter has done is Roger Miner has also done a set of books called German Immigrants in American Church Records. This is an ongoing project, but right now there are 46 volumes of this book, which most of the Colorado chapter has donated to the Denver Public Library's Western History Genealogy Department. And this helps you find the place of origin in these church records. And like I said, this is an ongoing project that he is constantly working on. And I think the Denver Public Library has 2 sets of these 46 volumes. There's also a set of books by Kevin Hansen. It's a reference book for the German states. So once you learn your German town or village, you can go to the Kevin Hansen books. And each of his books is dedicated to a particular state in Germany. And it outlines maps of parish records, both Lutheran and Catholic, and it identifies the archives that hold those records.
Cool.
And so that's super helpful. When I started my grandmother's, I bought the book on Hesse because that's the state my grandmother's from. And it told me where those records would be. The last resource I would also recommend is the Myers Gazetteer. It's an old-fashioned geographical dictionary that explains towns and villages. It can be helped to use to identify the towns that no longer exist and learn where the modern place can be today. It'll tell you which church or civil office keeps the records. They have an online, you can search Myers Gazetteer and they have an online version, but you can buy the print version as well. And several of these books are sold at our books sales that we do at our seminars.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. And Jennifer, the first book you mentioned was Ernest Sode, S-O-A-D?
No, it's Thode, T-H-O-D-E.
Ah, thank you.
This is Sandy. Ernie Thode has been a leader, prominent leader with the national organization in Palatines to America and also with the Ohio chapter.
Okay.
So if you go to the website, I'm sure the national website, you'll find his name and his publications.
Great.
And in fact, all of his publications and his whole library was donated to the Columbus, Ohio library as part of Palatines to America donations.
Nice. You guys are right on it. It's great. You're helping so many people. Now, I'd like to provide listeners with the contact information for the organization once again. You can find their website at www.copalam.us. You can email them at contact@copalam.us. You can find them on Facebook at Colorado Palatines to America. Just search for that. The national organization where you join and become a member is www.palam.org. And the Colorado chapter mailing address is P.O. Box 51186, Colorado Springs, Colorado, 80949. All right. What kinds of information and resources can visitors find on your website? Can you talk about your website for a minute?
This is Sandy. You can find information there about our seminars and specifically the April 18th seminar that Jennifer mentioned and the fact that it's in person and Zoom. And you can get information there about how to register and about the speaker and his topics. Also, in the members only section, you can get access to our former newsletters and also to Tim's 55 tips for German research. Jennifer's starting focus groups now monthly, and those are mentioned prominently on the first page of our website. And there's also a link there to this podcast so that people can listen to it again or hear it for the first time if they haven't heard it. It also has information about IGGP, the International German Genealogy Partnership that both Jennifer and Jerry have mentioned. And this group holds conferences every other year with co-sponsorship of Palatines to America. And their website has specialized research help.
Thank you so much for that information. I appreciate it. Now, just so everybody's clear, what avenues exist for people who want to financially support your organization, and how can they donate?
Well, Sean, we always greatly appreciate donations of financial support to help fund our operations, our seminars, and our library work. And as you mentioned, the national website, www.palam, for Palatines to America, www.palam.org, has a donate button that allows you to give to National Palam or to any of our chapters, and designating Colorado will ensure the funds get to us. And you can also send the checks to our P.O. Box, Palatines to America, Box 51186, Colorado Springs, Colorado, 80949. Thank you in advance for any support that you can provide.
Thank you, Jerry, very much. What approaches do you believe would effectively inspire today's youth to appreciate history and contribute to their community?
This is Kay. Sometimes it's hard to get the younger generation to appreciate history. I do find that when I can explain to them that this ancestor took place in that particular piece of history, fought in the Revolutionary War or whatever, that does make it more interesting to them, and it makes them think a little bit more about it and understand it better.
Sean, it's pretty funny. Sometimes you can get the kids interested when they hear old family stories and want to know whether those old family stories are true or not. And that was one that happened with our kids. We had an old family story that you should never go outside on New Year's Eve because people often shoot off guns in the air. And one of my great uncles was killed by a falling bullet.
Oh.
Well, Yvonne's research into the old newspapers, especially old German newspapers. So there were newspapers printed in German in the U.S. in addition to English, but the German ones told the real story. Apparently, my uncle married a young woman and the baby was born only a month later. And her brother was none too happy about this and confronted him in a bar around New Year's and shot him. The murder trial was well documented and dispelled the old story. So family stories can give you a basis for research, but they don't always give you the true facts. And hearing stories like that sometimes really get the younger people interested in learning more.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's Jennifer. I agree. I think it's by finding the stories. My daughter, who was probably 12 or 13 at the time, was doing a project. It may have been for church. And we got into Ancestry and kind of poke around. And we found a girl, and her name was Opal Beatrice Hazel Rosie Dolly Dell Skipper. And we were like,
Whoa.
How is this her name? And fast forward a couple months, my dad was going out to take pictures with his brothers that were in town of the cemeteries. And I said, will you take pictures, and bring them back to me? And when he did, here was this headstone for this 9-month-old baby, Opal B. Skipper. And I was like, it's her. And my dad was like, who is it, Jennifer? And I'm like, it's the girl with all the middle names.
Yeah.
And he said, you want to know why she had all those middle names? And I was like, what? She was the last child born to my great-grandparents, and she had 8 living siblings who gave her a name.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's where her name came from. And that's where my genealogy, I just fell in love after that because now I needed to know all of the information. And so I credit my love for genealogy to Opal, who only lived, I think she was 8 or 9 months old.
Oh, my.
And so I think it's finding that way to connect with them.
Yep, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Jennifer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, folks, but it's time for us to take a break for a few minutes. Listeners, we'll be right back after these important messages about making a donation to and supporting the Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America.
History connects us. Stories of migration, courage,
and family heritage make us who we are. But preserving the tools and knowledge to uncover those stories costs time and resources. That's where you can make a difference. Your donation to Palatines to America, and specifically the Colorado chapter, supports seminars, research archives, outreach programs, and educational events that help genealogists from every walk of life.
Whether for a seminar, an event fund, or preservation, your contribution helps the story of German-speaking immigrants live on. Donate today through www.palam.org or send your donation to Palatines to America, P.O. Box 51186, Colorado Springs, Colorado 80949. Every dollar helps illuminate the path.
This is Preservation Oaks, and here's another Footnotes of History. Our footnote today is the 2021 through 2024 border crisis, when a government lost touch with its people. Throughout history, one of the most fundamental responsibilities of any government has been the security of its borders and the consistent enforcement of its laws. When citizens believe that responsibility is being neglected, confidence in institutions begins to erode. In early 2021, just days into a new presidential administration, the United States entered a period of deep division and institutional strain. President Joe Biden took office amid national unrest, a pandemic, and sharply polarized views on immigration and border enforcement. The new administration moved quickly to reverse several existing immigration policies. Border wall construction was halted, travel restrictions were lifted, and executive orders were issued to emphasize humanitarian protections for certain undocumented immigrants. Supporters viewed these actions as an effort to reset America's global image and restore moral leadership. Critics, however, saw something very different. For communities along the southern border and in cities receiving large numbers of migrants, immigration was not an abstract debate. It was a daily reality, affecting schools, hospitals, housing, public safety, and local budgets. Many citizens came to believe that the federal government was disconnected from the lived experience of border states and overwhelmed municipalities. Between January 2021 and January 2024, U.S. Border Patrol confirmed more than 7.2 million attempts by unauthorized migrants to cross the southern border, not including those who evaded detection. From January 2021 through October 2024, federal authorities recorded approximately 8.6 million migrant encounters. To many Americans, these numbers signaled not merely a policy disagreement, but a failure to enforce laws already passed by Congress. The issue, for them, was less about immigration itself and more about whether the rule of law was being applied consistently. As federal enforcement appeared uneven, several states moved to act independently. Texas launched Operation Lone Star, deploying state law enforcement and National Guard resources to address border security. Other states followed with legal challenges and policy initiatives of their own. Several heavily impacted states began transporting migrants to jurisdictions that supported the federal approach, arguing that responsibility for its consequences should be shared more broadly. What emerged was not an armed uprising, but something equally consequential, a powerful political realignment. Citizens who felt abandoned by federal leadership coalesced around a movement demanding stricter enforcement and a return to constitutional order. That movement became a dominant force in national politics. In the 2024 election, voters propelled a new administration into power on a promise to restore border control and enforce existing immigration laws. Interpreting the election as a mandate, the federal government shifted course, deploying expanded enforcement resources and prioritizing removals of those who had entered the country unlawfully. The policy shift was unmistakable. It signaled that the era of permissive enforcement had ended, and that federal authority would once again be asserted at the border. The events of 2021 through 2024 illustrate a recurring pattern in American history. When citizens believe their government has failed to uphold the law, consent begins to fracture. And when that consent erodes, political change follows, not always through rebellion, but through the ballot box. As with earlier moments in our past, the lesson endures. In a constitutional republic, authority flows from the consent of the governed. When that consent is withdrawn, governments are replaced and policies are reversed. This has been another Footnotes of History brought to you by Preservation Oaks, because preserving our freedom means remembering the moments when citizens and leaders tested the boundaries of law, authority, and trust, and what happened when those boundaries were crossed.
And now, back to Preservation Oaks.
Welcome back to Preservation Oaks. I'm your host, Sean Radcliffe, and we're here today with members of the Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America in Colorado. Let's pick up where we left off. I'm learning a lot, folks. Thank you all so much for the information, and welcome back.
Thanks for the break, Sean. We're feeling refreshed and ready to dive back into Palatines to America and the fascinating story of German genealogy.
Now, folks, can you share some of the unique ways your organization benefits the community and explain why those contributions matter?
It's Jennifer again. We've talked about our partnership with the Denver Public Library and the Western History and Genealogy Center. And we've talked about the donations of Roger Meinert's books, The German Immigrants in America. We've also talked about Kevin Hansen's research books that we have donated. These books are available for the public to use. And these contributions enrich the library's collection. They help individuals reconnect with their ancestors, which supports the German genealogy community in Denver and those who visit the Denver Public Library.
Fantastic. Thank you. Hey, folks, is there any additional message or important information you'd like to share with the community or your members?
This is Sandy. German research books are sold exclusively by us in person at our seminars. I think the subject came up earlier when we were talking about things that we do in our seminar, but our folks that sell the books are volunteers just like the rest of us, and they don't have time to deal with handling mail orders or whatever, but they have a wide variety of books for German research that are at our seminars for sale.
Oh, thank you for that. Appreciate the information. Folks, I want to thank you all for spending time with me today. I've learned so much, had a great time. I'm so glad to meet you and learn about the German heritage of Colorado and our nation, and I appreciate the work you're doing. Thank you so much for being here.
Great. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
And with that, we'll end our time with our guests Jennifer Bigham, Sandy Carter-Duff, Kay Mariea, and Jerry Schaefer of the Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America, located in Colorado. Listeners, please stay tuned for my comments and wrap-up, which is coming up next. Well, friends, here we are again, reflecting on the information we learned during this episode. What a meaningful and enlightening conversation we've had today with the leadership team of the Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America. I'd like to once again extend my sincere thanks to our guests Jennifer Bigham, Sandy Carter-Duff, Kay Mariea, and Jerry Schaefer. These four individuals represent something that I deeply admire. Volunteers who give their time, knowledge, and heart so that others can better understand their family stories. They were kind enough to spend time with us today to enlighten all of us about our German history, both here in America and in the German lands of Europe, and I'm grateful for their generosity. You know, listeners, genealogy is not about charts. It's about people. It's about Jennifer discovering that 9-month-old baby, Opal, Beatrice, Hazel, Rosie, Dolly, Dell, Skipper, whose many middle names were given by loving siblings. That story, that small gravestone, lit a spark that still burns today. It's about Jerry uncovering the truth behind a long-held family legend, learning that the New Year's falling bullet story was not quite what it seemed. It's about Kay bringing mysterious German documents to a national conference in Denver in 2001 and walking away not only with translations, but with a 20-year commitment to serve as newsletter editor. It's about Sandy and her husband trying to understand ancestors who arrived in the 1700s and realizing that they needed help finding the towns of origin across the Atlantic. These are not academic stories. These are family stories. And when a society can help transform intimidation into confidence, when someone says, "I was afraid of that German website, but now I understand how to use it," well, that's impact. That's legacy work. The Colorado chapter, founded in 1982, has grown from a small gathering of researchers into a highly respected educational force. They've hosted national Palam conferences, including the 2022 conference in Denver. They brought nationally recognized German genealogy experts to Colorado. They've built strong partnerships with the Denver Public Library, one of the top German genealogy collections in the nation. They donated significant research materials, including the multi-volume German Immigrants in American Church Records collection. They've produced newsletters for decades, creating a wonderful body of information that can be searched and mined for valuable information about research and family stories. They've offered semi-annual seminars. They've created monthly focus groups that anybody across the world can attend. They've embraced new AI-assisted transcription tools like Transcribus, and they support collaboration with organizations such as the Colorado Council of Genealogical Societies and the International German Genealogy Partnership. They've served beginners, intermediate researchers, and advanced genealogists alike, and they've done it all as volunteers. Now let's be clear. Organizations like this don't run on enthusiasm alone. They run on membership, on support, and they run on people who understand that preserving history requires participation. Memberships helps fund educational seminars, visiting expert speakers, library donations, newsletter production, focus groups, website resources, and community outreach. And occasionally, when seminar costs exceed revenue, Donations fill the gap. If you've ever benefited from genealogy, if you've ever wondered where your people came from, if you believe that cultural memory matters, then consider supporting them. You can join them as a member or donate by going to www.palam.org. When donating through the national site, simply designate Colorado so the funds go directly to this chapter. Now let me zoom out for just a moment because I want to say it again. German history isn't just a footnote in American history. It's foundational. Early German immigration began in the late 1600s. Over generations, German-speaking peoples became the largest immigrant group in the United States. German was once the second most spoken language in America. Even during the American Revolution, the British Crown hired German soldiers known as Hessians to fight in the war. And we know that some of those soldiers remained in America after the war and made their lives here. Then, through the 1700s, 1800s, and into the 20th century, millions more arrived seeking opportunity, land, faith, and freedom. They built farms in Pennsylvania and in the Midwest. They mined in Colorado. They founded churches, opened breweries, printed newspapers, and served in America's wars. They contributed to science, education, agriculture, and industry. Their diligence, craftsmanship, faith traditions, and work ethic shaped this nation in profound ways. When we study German ancestry, we're not studying something ethnic or niche. We are studying America. What I admire most about the Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America is not just their expertise, it's their posture. They make something intimidating feel approachable. Old German script, shifting borders, Austria-Hungary, Alsace-Lorraine, Protestant and Catholic parish divisions, village names that no longer exist. They help people navigate all of it. And in doing so, they remind us of something deeply important. We're not disconnected individuals. We're part of a long human line of stories. Stories of migration, stories of faith, of courage, mistakes, and perseverance. History is messy and layered, and sometimes it takes a dedicated group of volunteers to help us peel those layers back. Friends, if today's episode stirred something in you, follow that curiosity. Visit their website, join, attend a seminar, sign up and attend one of their marvelous focus groups, and make a donation. Support the people who help preserve the stories that shape our nation. I want to thank once again Jennifer Bigham, Sandy Carter-Duff, Mariea, and Jerry Schaefer for joining us today, and I want to thank you, our listeners, for caring about history. This is Preservation Oaks, where history lives and voices echo through time. Until next time, take care of one another, and don't forget to ask about the old family stories, because sometimes they lead to something remarkable. Now, one last time, I'd like to provide listeners with the contact information for the Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America. You can find them at their website at www.copalam.us. You can email them at contact@copalam.us. You can find them on Facebook if you just search for Colorado Palatines to America. Their national organization where you join and donate is www.palam.org. And you can send them a regular letter at their mailing address at P.O. Box 51186, Colorado Springs, Colorado 80949. Also, you can send them a check to that same address. If questions occur to you and you'd like more information, please connect with them via the contact information I just provided. If you're a listener in the area the organization serves, or if you're a listener researching German ancestors, and you're not already a member, please consider joining and supporting them. I hope this information helps the audience understand how valuable the Colorado Chapter of the Palatines to America is to their members and what kinds of excellent services they have to offer. The Colorado Chapter of Palatines to America is truly one of our nation's preservation oaks, and I appreciate them very much. Okay, that's a wrap for this episode. Music used today is from Cymbalbird, Diamond Tunes, Alan Gray, Crazy Tunes, AB Sounds, MD Factory, Texas Brother, Melodrama, Eddie Honcha, and Honey Lemon. Hey, this is Sean Radcliffe. See you all next time on Preservation Oaks. And until then, keep on giving and keep on living the good life.
You can visit at www.microstreamradio.com. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted by Microstream Radio. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, reproduced, copied, or used anywhere without the written permission of Microstream Radio. Preservation Oaks starring Sean Radcliffe originates in Salt Lake City, Utah. Be sure to join us for our next episode on your favorite podcast platform. This is Matthew Adams speaking. Preservation Oaks has come to you through the worldwide podcast platform Podbean, and our home is preservationoaks.podbean.com. Hopefully you found today's episode useful, informative, and thought-provoking. If so, please like, follow, comment, and or subscribe. Remember that being free means being free to be curious, and that historical and genealogical societies and museums allow us to discover the past, be free to explore where curiosity opens every door. Thanks to everyone for listening. Stay cozy, curious, and keep exploring the incredible stories that shape our world. Remember to cherish and support the preservation of history in your own communities. The content of this program is provided for educational and informational purposes only. Some material included in this program may be copyrighted by third parties. However, under Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act, the doctrine of fair use allows the limited use of copyrighted material without requiring permission from the rights holders when used for purposes such as education, criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. These uses are legally permitted even if they might otherwise constitute infringement. If you wish to use copyrighted material from this program for purposes beyond fair use, you must obtain permission from the copyright owner. If you believe your copyrighted material has been used in this program in a way that does not qualify as fair use, please contact us at